What's going on, everybody? Doc Bob here. I am following up. I did this already. I'm going to do a quick rundown of Blast Premier's weekend for Group Stage B. So this is week 2 of Blast Premier. It's the newest, or one of the newest, professional Counter-Strike leagues going on right now. I went into a deep dive last week for Group Stage A, in which I can link it at the top of the video, wherever. I don't know how fucking YouTube works, but FaZe Clan swept everybody. Team Liquid came in second rather. MIBR came in last. NIP came in third. They played pretty well, but that was 2 weeks ago. We're gonna discuss Group Stage B. So, Group Stage B consisted of Nadas Vincere, Navi, Vitality. So Navi's a CIS squad, international, mixed. So geographically, I guess. I don't know how they define CIS. Vitality, overall French. Complexity, also CIS. With I believe there are people trying to petition to make Complexity an NA team, and after their performance this weekend, I'm sure more fans of NA would want that to be the case. But then there's also the Danish juggernaut, which is Astralis. Granted, Complexity has deemed themselves the juggernaut, and it's kind of turned into a meme and then also in reality. So I'll start off like I did last week. Last week I just did a quick explanation of what Blast Premier is. I'm not going to do that again. If you want to know, if you don't already know, you could check out the video from last week. But for this week, I'm going to jump into my pre-rankings, and I have it listed here in order from worst, the team I expected to come in last place, the team I expected to come in first place. Boy, was I fucking wrong. So, Complexity. Brand new team. The newest team, I believe, outside of OG, to be invited to Blast Premier League. I think OG is the newest, but Complexity was just updated. They just updated their roster. So as of November 2019, they dropped Shazam and they dropped Def. And then in December, they picked up Poison and Oboe. So Rush comes from Cloud9. Config, I can't remember what team he played for beforehand. Blame F comes from Wendigo. Poison comes from Wendigo. And Oboe is 17 years old. Kid's brand new to the scene. Pretty sure Blame F comes from Wendigo. Heroic. Sorry. So, super young team. The most seasoned veteran on the team is Rush. He played with Cloud9. He won a major with Cloud9. Config, mechanically, he's considered to be one of the greatest to play Global Offensive. Blame F is a strategic mastermind. He's the IGL of this team. But he's relatively new to the scene, and he's got fucking cannons for arms. So, me and him get a lot in common. That being said, Oboe, 17 years old. Kid's supposed to be he's supposed to be a mechanical genius when it comes to Counter-Strike. His aim's supposed to be incredible. He looks really good, but he's green. You know what I'm saying? Poison. I watched this guy play on Wendigo pretty much all of last year, and he was the only redeeming quality of that team, in my opinion. I called it last year. I said, put this kid on a team. Let him be a primary opper on a relatively known team, and he'll be a fucking superstar. Guess what? I was fucking right. Poison, in my opinion, I think by the end of 2020, Poison and Woxic from Mouse Sports, my personal favorite team in 2020, I think Poison and Woxic are going to be up there in contention with the 3 other best operas in the world, which is Zywoo, Simple, and Device. 3 of those operas performed this weekend in Group Stage B, which is supposed to be the doomsday group stage, just because we have Device, the 3rd best opera in the world, considered to be, the 3rd best HLTV player. Navi has Simple, who was ranked second in 2019, but first place in 2018. In my opinion, he's still the greatest Counter-Strike player to ever play the game. And then Vitality has Zywoo. Rookie year comes out, destroys the number. He destroys numbers. It's nobody's ever played their rookie year like he has, and he's a phenom. He's a French phenom. And the problem with Vitality, however, is he has to pick up the slack from everybody else in his team, which is why they don't see a ton of success. But that being said, my pre-rankings went in order from Complexity being the worst, just because they're so young. They're green. They haven't had a ton of time to play together. And then their online tournaments, I think it wasn't Ice Challenge. It was some qualifier. I can't remember which one. But the recent one that they played, they performed pretty poorly. So Complexity came in. People were, I even considered them to be like the sacrificial fucking they were the sacrifice to Astralis. You know, the first matchup, their first matchup in this was Astralis. And, you know, I'll get to it, but it was huge. It was kind of huge for them. So Complexity, relatively unknown. Everybody wrote them off as being the worst team in this group stage. I myself also did, just because I saw so little from them. So they were my pre-rank fourth team. Vitality came in third, in my opinion, for pre-rankings. They also came in third in post-rankings, but we'll get to that. So when it comes to Vitality, you have 2019's number one player, HLTV's number one player, Zywoo. Phenom, incredible. Alex, also a mastermind. His mid-game calls are incredible. People have been praising him and all their most recent tournaments, that when they're on T side, he gets good reads and he knows how to play off of it. Similar to CT side, but when I'm watching, it's more apparent on T side. Apex, I'm going to say he's average. I'm going to say he's average. And I'm going to kind of leave it at that, because he's not a superstar player. He doesn't make huge plays, but he can perform at the level that they're performing at to a certain extent. I'll get to RPK afterwards. Shocks, he is supposed to be a French superstar. He is supposed to be, you know, the number 2 superstar behind Zywoo. He's supposed to be the one, you know, picking up all the slack. If Zywoo dies early in a round, he's supposed to be the one that makes the plays, you know? He doesn't do that. He's too inconsistent. He's a great player. Mechanically, he's significantly above average. When it comes to game sense, he's in between. Especially over this weekend. He had some great lurks where he got multi-kills off of. Alex has easily the best game sense out of everybody on the team. He knows where people need to be at what times. He knows what calls and plays need to be made. He knows what adjustments need to be made on the fly. But Shocks individually, when it comes to like clutch stuff, he's in between. He's pretty good at it. RPK, a legend, a veteran. He is the tank of this team. In my opinion, he is the formed foundation of Vitality. I think if there's two people that this team could ever build off of, it's 100% Zywoo, and I think right afterwards is RPK. You put RPK on a site by himself or with one other person, he's the anchor. He defends on CT side 1 versus 3 almost every single time. There's a factor to RPK when it comes to CT clutches that it's hard to calculate and put a number behind it. But the amount of times I've watched him 1v3 somebody or 1v3 a team, even this past weekend, he did it maybe 5 times where he'll have he 3-deeged 3 people on Navi in their first matchup. Won the round easily for them. His P250, his pistols are insane against fully armored opponents, against fully bought opponents. These two are the form factor to Vitality, in my opinion. And I think Alex, to a little lesser extent, he can frag. decently well. He has a great mind sense for the game. And then Shocks and Apex, they need to be more consistent and they need to pick up the slack more. So this was my team I expected to come in third place. Second place. And this one hurts because when I first made my pre-ranking predictions, I expected them to come in second place to Astralis. I expected it to be the final Na'Vi versus Astralis because it hurts because I want this team to be incredible. This team has everything in them to be an incredible team. Simple. In my opinion, the greatest player in the world. I understand Zaiwu was, number one for 2019, but Simple isn't. Nobody has hit a peak this high ever in their lives. Electronic, top 5 in the world. When you have 2 of the top 5 players playing Counter-Strike together, why are you losing? They can frag. They can kill anybody on the server at any given time. There's a macro that needs to come into play with this. So when this lineup was set, previously it was... Flamey is also a very, very solid Counter-Strike player. He's just got a mindset to him that can greatly affect his play in game. So if he's calm, if he's enjoying himself, if he's having good fun playing Counter-Strike, these 3 are fucking dangerous. And I said it all weekend. When Not as Sincere, when this Na'Vi roster is playing at a high level, when they're playing at a caliber that they should be playing at, they're the most dangerous team in Counter-Strike, and I will stand by that until the day I die, until they prove me otherwise. But late in or midway into 2019, they picked up Boomage to be their new IGL after the Zeus Edward era ended. They picked up Boomage. He's young. He's relatively inexperienced at this level of Counter-Strike, but he came in, he did his best. He tried to build an environment for this team to thrive in. And they also brought in Blade to be their coach. And Blade does a macro game for this team where he's micromanaging every single player on the team. This is what you need to do. This is what you need to worry about. He is grinding this team into perfection form. Speaking of perfection form, Perfecto. So he's the newest addition to the roster. He comes from Simon Gaming. He's young. He's new to the scene. He's never played at this level of Counter-Strike before. So a lot of people write him off. I've watched his VODs. I've watched his clips. I've watched what this kid can do on Simon Gaming at the lower tier of Counter-Strike. And if he could bring 75% of that to this next level of Counter-Strike, this is a perfectly well-rounded team. This is a number one contending team right here, as long as he can round out this roster. So what did I see from him, from his Simon Gaming? He's a good multi-fragger. We saw it a couple of times this weekend where he'll get a spray down with 2 to 4 kills at the end of it. Boomage did some of that this weekend too. Literally everybody on this Na'Vi roster performed very well this weekend, outside with an asterisk here, outside of the first day. Outside of Friday, they didn't play well. Or Friday, they didn't play well. Outside of Friday, they played very well. So this was my number 2 team. It hurts because, like, when I said it, whenever I rank them not as a top seed, it hurts because I want them to be the top seed. This is a team I want to see win. This is a team I want to see perform incredibly. So, like, my gut says Astralis always has to be number 1. But my heart, my heart that's 3 sizes too large wants Na'Vi to be number 1. We'll see where they end up after this. And then, of course, number 1, everybody expected Astralis to be number 1. Everybody expected Astralis to fucking spank every team in this group stage. They were the number 1 team in 2018, 2019. They almost have a legacy, an era building right now with this team. This lineup is insane. Glaive considered to be the best IGL in the world. I disagree. I think Kerrigan's the best IGL in the world, but Glaive is definitely number 2. He's smart. He knows how to play the game. He knows what other teams are going to do. He knows how to counter it, and he can also frag with everybody else on this team. Device, number 3 in the world, third best ARPR on the planet outside of Zywoo and Simple. Arguably the most consistent top-level Counter-Strike player of all time. So if he's performing, everybody should be performing. Magis came in after, I think it was Kierby left, or I can't remember who left the team, but Magis came in to round out this full squad. He's a clutch king. He's a multi-frag king. He can do it. He is their, what's it called? Their Swiss Army knife. He can do everything that this team needs him to do. And that's exactly why they picked him up for this roster. Dupree, good secondary AWPer. He can frag just as well as Device, Magis. He's just a very good overall player. And Zipnik's I think Zipnik's isn't as strong as everybody else on this team. I don't think he can frag, but he can't frag at the level that like Device, Magic, and Dupree can. He's more of a glaive level, in my opinion. But he also brings to the table a clutch factor that nobody in Counter-Strike has right now. Or nobody has to his extent. His extent is fucking insane. Like, he wins clutches that nobody should win. And it's like awe-inspiring to watch. But this was my lineup. I thought, along with everybody else, these two right here were everybody's, like, locks. Complexity is going to come in last place. Astralis is going to come in first place. That's what everybody thought. It wasn't true, but that's what people expected. So we'll do a quick rundown of the matchups. So for day one, it was Navi versus Vitality. This is a matchup that everybody wants to see. Everybody wants to see, the top two players in the world dueling it out against each other, Simple versus Zywoo. It's really not how it plays out typically. It's just two teams trying to beat each other. It's not Simple trying to beat Zywoo. It's two teams wanting to fucking win. And on Friday, Vitality wanted to win more. They played significantly better than Navi did. Navi just got back from a pretty tough loss to Mouse Sports at the Ice Challenge. They came in second place overall. They're losing to Mouse Sports. Mouse Sports started 2020 super fucking hot. But Navi still played pretty well. Coming into Friday, day one of the group stage, they kind of face planted. They kind of walked and tripped their way into this Vitality matchup. Vitality was playing very well. There was a lot of good clutches. Everybody on that team was operating at the same level. Everybody was pretty much performing, but the only person on Navi to be performing this day was Boomage, and he's your IGL. And you don't want your IGL to be your top frag for an entire series. You know what I'm saying? For an entire best out of 3, Boomage can't be the only person that's getting 20 plus kills in a match. What they needed was Electronic to show up from the Ice Challenge. Electronic won MVP in the Ice Challenge against Mouse Sports. His ranking was like 97 overall after Ice Challenge. He's the top ranked player of HLTV starting 2020 coming into the series. What you needed was him and Simple to, instead of warming their way up into the series, they needed to just fucking start hot. And they would have swept Vitality the first time. But that being said, Vitality everybody on that team was performing fairly decently. They're playing good team Counter-Strike, and they beat Navi, bumping Navi down into the losers bracket. So, next comes up the number 1 ranked team in the world versus the second newest team in Blast Premier at Complexity, who's currently ranked 28. So, number 1 versus 28. What do you think the fucking odds? What do you think the Betway odds are for this? Astralis, the Complexity was like 17 to 1. 17. You bet $100 on Complexity to win out this series. You just won $1,700. It was fucking insane. So, what happens? Complexity comes out relatively unknown. They have a game plan. They have this whole thing set up in their heads. All 3 of these teams have a ton of review tape that Complexity can build off of and set game plans to. So Blame F on their team, being a fucking genius, essentially had a game plan to go against every single one of these teams. But going against Astralis, They came out on map 1 and they out-fragged them at an insane level. This kid right here, Poison, was out-opping Device. Remember when I said Device is arguably the longest running top 5 ranked Counter-Strike opper to ever play the game? This kid, he's 21 years old, comes from a relatively no-name team of Wendigo, shows up and out-ops Device. Guess what? Oboe was out running around fucking headshotting everybody. Rush was Rush is still the foundation of this team. I think Rush and Blame F are the two foundations of this team. Config, mechanically, one of the greatest he's arguably one of the best mechanical players in the game. What do? They come out and they stomp the number 1 fucking team. Astralis gets 2-0'd by Complexity. A no-name team beats number 1. Betway goes out of fucking business because everybody that betted on Complexity got paid that fucking day. This is considered to be one of the biggest upsets in Counter-Strike Global Offensive history. So this is how day one went. Vitality 2-0 Na'Vi, Complexity come out of fucking nowhere, and 2-0 Astralis. And by the way, they had a game plan of no other team has ever seen us play Vertigo before, so we're going to practice the shit out of Vertigo. So what they did was they set up the pick ban. This is absolutely fucking genius. They set up the pick ban so Vertigo was still left up on the table. So what was it? It was Dust 2, I think, map 1. I can't fucking remember. Let's see. No, Group Stage B. Maps Dust 2, Vertigo, Inferno was the decider. So they go to Dust 2, very fraggy map. This is a fraggy team. They beat Astralis on it. Again, Poison was just fucking Poison is incredible. He's an absolute top 5 opera in my opinion for 2020. I'm calling it now. It's gonna be Simple, Zywoo, Device, Woxic, Poison. Those are gonna be the top 5 operas in 2020. You heard it here first. So they beat him on Dust 2, and then the whole fucking game plan, the 200 IQ big brain play from Complexity is, nobody's ever seen us play Vertigo. We're going to ban out all of these maps and leave Vertigo open. So we trick Astralis into thinking we don't know how to play it. When in reality, they've been practicing it and scrimming it for so fucking long, or for months now at this point, like 2 or 3 months. Astralis picks it, and they get fucked. They fell right into the trap that Complexity laid for them, and they beat them on it. And it was just good overall Counter-Strike. Biggest upset, one of the biggest upsets in Counter-Strike history. So what happens? Na'Vi gets bumped down to the losers bracket. Astralis gets bumped down to the losers bracket. And Na'Vi comes out fucking swinging against Astralis. It's safe to say Astralis came into this rusty. They need to... I think it was 2 months since they played in a tournament, in their last tournament. It was like 56 or 60 days or some shit like that. When Na'Vi just came back from Ice Challenge, I think it was like 46 days or something for Vitality. And Complexity got spanked offline, or online rather. So Astralis comes in rusty. They get 2-0'd by a no-name team. And then they get 2-1'd by Na'Vi. And this Na'Vi team, when they were playing Astralis, looked good. And I was live tweeting the whole thing. That's at WGG Bert, where I was talking about how when this fucking team is playing on point, they're the most dangerous team in Counter-Strike. And you want to know why? Because they shut down every other team. They get into a rhythm and a groove where they're playing fun Counter-Strike, where simple as knifing 2 people in one match. He's starting the match with a knife round 1. He's ending the fucking match or the series with a knife in round fucking 26 or whatever it was. Flamey was playing incredible. Simple was playing very well. Electronic picked it back up. Perfecto played surprisingly well for somebody who just got 2-0'd by Vitality. He didn't really show up all that much in this series. Granted, Not many people showed up in this series. It was basically just Boomage, but everybody was playing at a good level of Counter-Strike in this Navi versus Astralis lineup. This was just this defeat right here was a huge combination of Astralis being super fucking rusty coming into 2020. They should have. I think they boot camped, but I think they needed to play in another tournament, or they needed to scrim more, or something. They needed to do something. They needed to get into matches, into like actual matches, to get all the fucking ring rust off. But they didn't. They got spanked. And Navi eliminated Astralis, so Astralis is going to the showdown. Then it was Vitality versus Complexity. Again. Everybody was like, there's no way. There's a Complexity beating Astralis. It was a fluke. There's no way they're going to beat another top 10 fucking team, let alone the number 1 team in the world. How could they possibly beat Vitality, who's ranked number 8? Come out and they fucking smoke Vitality. It was this series of events right here, this 2-0, 2-0, it's never been done before in Counter-Strike. Never has a no-name team. I shouldn't even say no-name. Just a brand new team come out and smoked their competitors that are at this level of Counter-Strike. Similar to the Astralis Complexity matchup, Complexity was just playing a level of Counter-Strike that mechanically they outgunned pretty much everybody on the server. And they 2-0'd Vitality, knocking them into the losers bracket as well. So here's the rematch. Navi versus Vitality. What happens? Navi goes absolutely fucking bonkers. They go off. Simple is fucking... I think Simple dropped like 30 kills. I think it was either Flamey or Simple dropped like 30 kills one match. And then everybody played fucking crazy. It's just insane to see this not as Vincere lineup performing at this level, because you can see that they can beat Astralis on any given day. Granted, Astralis is rusty, but they could also beat Vitality handedly. They handedly beat Vitality in this revenge match. So what happens? Navi knocks out Astralis. Navi knocks out Vitality. Vitality is going to the showdown. And then it's the wonder fucking child of Complexity, already making it to the finals, already securing a spot in the finals, versus Navi, who has to battle their way back from the lower bracket. And this was a fucking great matchup. I think they played Mirage Map 1. There were some good signs from Complexity. The problem was Navi was so fucking revved up from these two matches that there was no... if they could have played Liquid, they could have played EG, they could have played any other fucking top tier team. Let's see. Can we pull up the team rankings? I don't fucking know. I genuinely don't care, actually. But I don't think it would have mattered what team they played against in this finals. After the win over Astralis, they were fucking ready to take on anybody in the world, and they beat Astralis in a solid fashion. They smoke Vitality, and then whoever was their opposition here was losing. That's how I saw it. After I saw them win these two matchups, whoever they played here, they were going to lose no matter what. Some people thought Complexity was going to do it. It was going to be some fucking triumphant story where they knock out every team in the bracket. They come out of nowhere. They knock out every team, but it wasn't the case. Navi was too fired up. They were too ready to perform. They were too ready to play, and Navi fucking beat the bag out of Complexity. Again, Mirage was a little different. Mirage, they were relatively competitive, Complexity, but Navi was just adjusting to everything that they did. And they were ready for everything that they did, and everybody they needed to fragged. So, Navi fucking won it. It was incredible. I was looking today at Navi jerseys because I kind of want to buy a jersey. I'm trying to think of what team. If I'm gonna buy a jersey for a team, I don't know what team I want to buy one for, and I think it's fucking Navi. Like NA teams, I don't care about any of the fucking NA teams. Team Liquid chokes. They can't perform. EG is Actually, EG is kind of up there for me. But 100 Thieves is the only other team I can think of that I would want to, like, rock a fucking jersey for other than Navi. Navi is fucking insane. I don't know. This is one of my favorite teams to watch. Mo Sports. Easy. I'm buying my Mo Sports jersey. That's what I forgot. They're my fucking favorite team. Navi's number 2, though. And I've been saying this for Navi for a while now. I said, last year when they picked up Guardian, I said to Chris, and this is actually one of the reasons why I have a fucking my own Twitter today. I was explaining to Chris, I was like, this is kind of insane. Like, Guardian leaves Navi, comes back. They arguably have 2 of the best oppers in the world on the team. The problem was Simple got relegated to a rifle role while they gave Guardian the primary opping mechanics, and he couldn't perform. You know, he played like trash in every fucking event that they went to. He was literally dragging them down in every event that they went to, and it was tough to see. It's the exact opposite of what Zaiwu had to do last year. Last year, Zaiwu had to fucking throw his team on his back and carry everybody. Last year, Guardian literally dragged everybody on Navi down. But they did exactly what they said they had to do. I called it. I said, watch what's going to happen. Navi is going to drop Guardian. They're going to pick up a relatively decent rifler, and they're going to be a competitive team again. I was fucking right. Of course I was right. They pick up Perfecto. He's talented. He's unknown, but he's talented. He wasn't their first pick. Probably wasn't even their fucking third pick. But I think he fits into this roster very well. I think he's a good complement to someone like Electronic on B-side and Inferno, where he can hold his own, he can hold his corners. He was playing tough fucking he was playing tough spots when he's a rookie, dude. You bring the kid on, he's never played with your roster before, and you're having him hold fucking Arch on Inferno, Arch side on CT on Inferno. That's like one of the hardest locations to hold. I don't know, man. This Navi roster was fucking incredible this weekend, besides this first day. So, this is how it all ended. Astralis got knocked out first. Fucking bananas. Vitality gets knocked out next. It's Complexity and Navi in the final. And then Navi eventually smokes Complexity out to win the whole thing. Both teams qualify for the finals. Navi gets 50K, I think. I think Complexity gets like 20 or 25. I don't remember. But it's almost the exact opposite of how I, as well as most people, expected this to go. Most people expected Complexity to come in last place. They came in fucking second. Everybody thought Astralis would win the whole thing. They came in last. Vitality and Navi, it was a coin flip for a lot of people. Nobody knew which one was going to beat the other. Nobody knew where the other would place. So in reality, everybody thought these were going to be the 2 and 3 team, Navi and Vitality. But that's not how it ended. When it comes to the post ranking, however, it's still really tough to see how any of this changes. I think Astralis is still going to be number 1. In reality, this is how the tournament ended. Astralis gets eliminated first. Vitality comes in third place. Both of these teams get sent to the showdown. Complexity comes in second and losing to Navi. Navi wins the whole thing. Both teams secure a spot in the finals. In reality, when it comes to overall ranking for 2020, I don't know if this can keep up. I want this to keep up because I want these 2 fucking players to have an incredible future in Counter-Strike. Poison, I'll say it again, he's going to be a top 5 opper in Counter-Strike for 2020. Him and Woxic are going to be both up there alongside Device, Zaiwu, and Simple. Keep an eye on this kid. Keep an eye on this kid. He's fucking 17 years old. Okay? It's fucking crazy. I don't know if they can keep it up. I don't want to say they play a puggy style of Counter-Strike because it's not. They clearly put a lot of time and effort into weighing their opponents. Like, Blame F is very smart when it comes to this shit. They put a ton of time into watching how their opponents play and coming up with a game plan coming up with a game plan to counter it, actually, or to play against it, or to exploit weaknesses. I don't know, Matt. It's tough. Again, it's tough to say that this is going to be an overall better team than anyone here. So I'm going to put complexity down here. I'm going to put Astralis back up top just because this is one fucking tournament. It's the first week of the tournament and they still have the showdown to go through, as well as IEM Katowice coming up. So I think it was just a really rough start to 2020. They're super rusty. They need to shake it off. They need to get back into 2019 form. When it comes to Vitality, this is where my question comes. Like, if Complexity continues to perform like they did this weekend, they are, in my head, handedly better than Vitality. So the question comes with Vitality, how do they stay consistent? You can't have ZywOo carrying everybody on this fucking team. It's impossible. What they need to do is, I don't even know. Like, individually, they just need players to pick up more slack and get more frags. Alex, I think, is fine. RPK, I think, is fine. I think Apex and Shocks need to perform a little bit better for this team to stay at such a high level. Because, like, God forbid something happens to fucking ZywOo, Matt. Like, what happens if he goes on a slump for 2 months? Then they're out of sixth place. They're not sixth place anymore. They're fucking 16th or 26. So I don't know. I think I'm going to put Complexity above them just because I think their future could be more promising. The only caveat to that is higher level teams like Astralis could try to figure out their formula. And their formula, unless their formula is consistently changing, I don't know. They're just such a fraggy team. And they're very good at it, too. I don't know. Like, you see what happened to Furia. Furia in, what was it, late 2018, early 2019? They seemed unstoppable for a while just because they had tactics that nobody else fucking knew. But 3 months later, every top caliber team figured out their tactics and they fucking, when's the last time you've seen Furia fucking do anything, really? It's 3 months after everybody figured out how they played. Na'Vi, this is also interchangeable. I think, I'm not going to say they're going to be the best team of 2020 because I'm still convinced that Mouse Sports is going to be the best team in 2020, but I think Na'Vi has an absolute possibility to be number 2. I think when we see the results from Ice Challenge, whereas Mouse Sports winning the whole thing and Na'Vi coming in second, I think that's going to be that's how we start 2020. I think that's going to be how we end 2020, where Mouse Sports is the number 1 ranked team overall. They're going to be the most winning team of 2020. And I think Navi's going to be the second. I genuinely, truly think that Na'Vi is going to be the second best team in Counter-Strike. If not, I think they'll be the third. This team, if this fucking roster, there's this glue. They need to keep this fucking glue in between these fucking players. It's that simple. See? I don't know, man. When these two players, when Electronic and Simple go off, they're unstoppable. Unless they're being fucking weighed down by someone like Guardian. And Flamey played incredibly well this weekend. Boomage played very well this weekend for the first day. He, kind of teetered off towards the end. And Perfecto, for somebody coming into matchups against Astralis, the number 1 team in the world, and Vitality, essentially like the rival of Na'Vi at this point. The fans, it's a rivalry that the fans deem, essentially. It might not be between them, but the viewers consider it a rivalry. Just because of the simple ZywOo shit. To see somebody like him come in and not shit his pants live on stage, it's kind of impressive. He performed at a level that, he wasn't up there with everybody here. At one point, he was top frag on Train, I think, for a little bit. Or Inferno, I can't remember what it was. But at one point, he was top fragging. It's fucking wild to see a fucking noob come out of nowhere from a Simon Gaming, a C-ranked team, and play with an S-tier team, in my opinion. So as long as he keeps it up, I think he rounds out this team very well. You have a great young IGL who can frag, who has big brain plays. He does some crazy shit. You have literally two of the best players in Counter-Strike right now. And then you have Flamey, who is, I would argue he's slightly less impressive than these two, but still very impressive. He's like, in my opinion, he's like the Magisk of Astralis, or the Dupree of Astralis, where you expect him to perform at a certain level, but then there's like one fucking weird X factor, and I guess it's his mentality of the game, where it's like if he gets triggered, it's tough. It's a tough game to play. But that's also the case with a lot of people in Counter-Strike. But this weekend, we saw this fucking team play CS that I've never seen them this good before. I can't remember the last time I've seen fucking anybody on Navi smile, let alone enjoy playing the game. And they were all fucking for it this weekend, and I loved watching it, and I can't wait to watch it again. Oh, side note, I watched Perfecto pull fucking 2 pouches out of his upper lip when he was live on stage. This kid was packing a fucking lip on stage while he was playing, and that's the type of fucking energy I need out of my Navi roster, okay? I need a fucking new guy coming in, packing a fucking dinger live on stage, and then camera zooms in on him, he looks at the camera, someone fucking taps him on the shoulder, takes both the pouches out, and just winks at the camera. I like this guy. Keep him. Navi needs to keep him. On top of that, Simple said it himself. Simple was like, look, this is the best roster I've played on since Liquid. It's the best Navi roster he's played on, so there's no reason why this team can't be a top 3 team. I don't know, man. What an awesome fucking weekend of Counter-Strike. I can't wait for Group Stage 3, or C. Who we got? 100 Thieves versus G2. I want G2 to be good so bad just because I love watching Kenny S. Granted, I love this 100 Thieves roster. I've loved them since they were Renegades. EG, also very impressive. OG, I don't know enough about this team. But yeah, I'll come back to you guys next week for the Group Stage C rundown. I couldn't do the pre-ranking beforehand this week or last week rather, for Group Stage B, just because I worked I worked back-to-back 11-hour shifts, and I came home and I just wasn't fucking for it. But I'll try for Group Stage C. So, that being said, I'm Dr. Bob of Wicked Gaming. You can check out our written content at wickedgaming.com. You could watch all of my other Counter-Strike content at youtube.com/wickedgaming. I record these things live at twitch.tv/wickedgaming. We do our podcast live every Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or 8:30 if we're going longer. The podcast is Not Another Gaming Podcast. You can find it on all podcast platforms. We are at Wicked Gaming on all social media and at Wicked Games on Twitter. I am WGG Bert on Twitter. If you want live updates, whenever these major tournaments are going down, I'm fucking watching them. I'm live tweeting them. You can get my fucking hot takes. I try to do a pre-ranking beforehand just to see, like, because I want to see how I can gauge these teams coming into these tournaments. And the problem with gauging the teams coming into this tournament was complexity was the fucking shoehorn that got thrown into this whole fucking mix. This is a washing machine. Complexity is the fucking cinder block that got thrown into this. And they fucked all of it up, and then Navi came out on top at the end. So, oh man, it was an awesome fucking weekend for Counter-Strike. But you guys can catch me next week for Group Stage C. And yeah, check out the podcast, check out the Twitch, check out the Twitter. You know, keep grinding, fellas. Get up there. Keep grinding through Counter-Strike. I'll catch you next week.